What's going on, paint entrepreneurs? Aiden Smith with the Paint Your Path podcast, joined by my amazing co-host.
Joel Mercado, what's up?
What's going on, my man?
Not much. How are you, brother?
Good. We are back.
Yeah.
PCA Expo has wrapped up over here in Orlando. Thankfully, it's my backyard, so I got right back to it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what an event, bro.
Honestly, man, I'm still kind of like dissecting and still taking the notes mentally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
magical.
yeah. Literally.
And like, dude, we've been to a few now. It's just so amazing, to see not only all of the people that we've, basically been grinding with the last few years,
Yeah.
but just to see like, man, this is where kind of not even us, but they started, and we see them at a whole nother level. Mindset changed, businesses changed, and it's kind of like this community within the expo and the PCA is just becoming that much more concrete,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Great people through and through.
100%, dude. And it's also awesome to watch families being built too. You know what I mean? Like, I've noticed a few guys having newborns and having babies, and just the conversations about family, faith, and building a legacy has been amazing too to watch and watch people what they're doing. So super
Yeah.
excited. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And just to give you guys like a little, glimpse of what it was, right? Like obviously the expo trade show is like the big event.
hmm
Um, but dude, there were some powerful workshops as well where I took away some game, you
yeah,
know. It was like the perfect mix of education, kind of like letting go a little bit, right? Because when you're in those rooms, yeah, of course you're soaking up information, but at the same time you're around people that are like just like you, right?
hmm
So it's super easy to be laid back. The conversations are, a lot of people are in the same kind of mindset and like, hey, we're trying to do this. Here's what we've seen over the last few years. Is the struggles we're going through. So you're really relating with these guys on a level that if you just went to a general business expo, you're not going to get those aligned conversations. I thought that was really cool.
No, I agree, dude. And the cool part is, I did you watch? I forget when it was, but they were showing a live voting survey, which was really cool.
Really?
It was showing brain melds versus breakout sessions versus I forget what other category they did, but they said the breakout sessions were actually the most liked sessions, which is when everybody broke out to the different islands and the different aisles of like other speakers. They said they found more value in those, right? Because they were very specific subjects that
Right.
people can look for and actually take away whatever those subjects were. So that was kind of cool to watch live time people voting on the screen and seeing what people took away. So
Wow.
makes sense.
I didn't see that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it was
Um,
on Wednesday or Thursday. They did like a Sherwin Williams marketing workshop, and then they were actually showing live time people voting. So that was a pretty
gotcha.
cool concept. Yeah.
Like live feedback. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And we were lucky enough to host one of those brain meld shops, right?
Yes. Yes.
We got some great conversations in. And dude, when I'm in those like workshops and talking to people, it just lets me know like people need us, you
Oh,
know?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
dude, everybody I asked on my table, like I would say 80% of the people didn't have a concrete way to do their estimating, right?
yeah, yeah,
And I was looking around and I was asking more questions, right? CRM wasn't dialed. There were shaky things across the business to where I'm like,
yeah,
it's not enough to be that guy that figures it all out and be like someone that, can usually like we're the type of people that if you just put something in front of us, most of the time we're going to get it figured out. It'll take some time.
yeah,
But I feel like when you're building a business, especially in the environment we are, where it's so competitive with painting, and it's like if you don't have it right on the next estimate, you're going to lose it. How important is it to like invest in your education? So I'm looking around and thinking these guys need this now. They are losing money every day that they don't have someone walking them through the blueprint, the frameworks, and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. Here's the craziest part. I didn't realize. It's kind of funny because you and I, we just do what we do and we just kind of forget, right? Like we're just
yeah,
like doing it. But we were talking to Durant, Justin, and Daniel. So
yes,
we were kind of in the lobby area, and they were telling me about how they walked around with Walter. I don't know if you were with Justin and Walter or just Justin, but he was like measuring the house, and Walter, and
Oh
shout out
yeah.
to Walter, man. Like, everybody was like, Walter was like, what? Like, everyone gave their bids, and you guys were
Mhm.
like just a couple dollars off or something. And I don't think people realize the importance of this, because the fact that you and Justin were just dollars,
Right.
not like hundreds, right? Just dollars off by a little bit.
Right.
And like Walter and all the other guys were just so far off on their measures, or not even their measures, but the amounts is what I took from the conversation.
Mhm.
I thought that was funny, because obviously Justin's part of your program, right? He's one of
Mhm.
your coaches in there, and they could see between the two of you, right? Like how dialed in your process is.
Right.
And then when I was talking to them, I go, dude, listen, it's the same thing that I had. Because remember when I brought you in, I was spoiled. I had the same estimator for years because it was my business partner. So it's like he's going to estimate the same way pretty much
Right.
all the time, because he has his own figures and how he does things. But we didn't do production rates. And then once we brought Richard in and Jordan, I was like, oh my God, like, what, how do we teach them
We
this?
need
Because
a
I'm
system,
spoiled.
right?
Right. So it's so interesting that it takes that process to be exposed for all of us, right? And I'm
Yeah.
saying this even me, right? Because I was so used to my partner doing everything that never even thought about the future of like, what about teaching somebody this, and someone who doesn't know what we do? Like, what's that
Right.
process look like? And the other cool part I noticed too, which was like how you're saying in the brain meld, I was running the leadership table, right? And I was just ripping just certain basic leadership topics, and I'm just like, oh my God, like I never realized that these are very foreign concepts right now
Yeah.
for a lot of people, just like you said with the estimating side. And we guys, like you guys that are listening right now, I've been very vocal, by the way, and lately I've been being more vocal, and I'm going to continue getting more vocal throughout the year. The reason why, it's because a lot of people are saying, I don't know why I'm stuck. I don't know why I can't do this. I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm literally telling you, especially Aiden right here is telling you too. The why is because you're not seeking the information you need to get.
Mhm.
It's in the tip of your fingers. You're literally listening to a podcast right now that's giving you play all the time. You have access to all of us, plus many other people,
Yeah.
whoever else you need to. There should be no reason why you're not winning. In fact, it's easier to win now than it ever been in
Ever.
any time in our life. Isn't that wild, Aiden? Like, think about that.
Yeah.
The resources, the AI, the just everything right now, so much easier to win. So tell me, when we keep, I know we keep talking about PCA, right? And the recap to the PCA, my biggest takeaway is this: is that there's still a lot of people trying to hover to that seven figure. Did you notice that? Like, what
Oh
was your
yeah.
takeaway on that? Like, what did you notice on that? Like, hey, what does the average person in this room look like?
Yeah, they were from like 300 to like 700.
And then what were some commonalities that you noticed in those conversations?
Yeah, just missing links, right? We think are gimmies. Dialed in CRM estimating software,
Yep.
a crew that is effective, right? And kind of talking through some of like the processes within like the production and whatnot,
Yep.
and just missing, right? It's like, oh no, we don't have a process for that, or never really thought about that, or we just been doing it this way for a long time. And it's like that's what's keeping you stuck,
Yes.
right? Just
Yes.
kind of winging it, rolling, and thinking that it's just going to get better, right?
Yep.
It's kind of like going through your finances, right? If you are not intentional with your finances and you can see, okay, all I have to do is sell X amount of jobs, get X amount of leads. Now you're going to be in a spot where you're just hoping that these good spike months come and you're able to save some money. That is an inefficient way to grow your business. It's kind of like going to the gym, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have a training regimen or you're not tracking the reps and the lifts and week by week going up and seeing the progress, and you're just showing up and putting in a work, seeing how it feels and going out, that's not an effective way to grow your fitness, your business, or your life in general, right? So
100%.
that's where we come in and give you those key frameworks, right? Like, I know from your clients, like you give them, hey, this is your goals for this week. If you're not hitting these goals, we're off, we're missing, and now we got to play by behind for next week.
Yes.
And that's how you're able to guarantee results with these guys. And most people aren't even thinking about that on a week to week basis. They're just winging it, right? They're
bro.
thinking that the marketer is just going to be the missing thing, or even the coach is just going to be the missing thing. It's like there are standards. You got to keep tracking them every week. And yeah, what we think is just so easy and a gimme, these guys don't have set up.
Bro, I love that you mentioned that. I just had a client this morning. We do a meeting called GSNR, which means goal set and review. So we review their goals from last week. If they didn't hit it, why? What can you do differently? What can we change? Right. And this is the cool part about business, right? And I think you'll appreciate this now that you mentioned the numbers. In his mind, he's like, dude, I haven't been hitting goal. I'm feeling the pressure. And he's like, I just don't feel good. And I'm like, what do you mean by pressure? Tell me a little bit more about that. And he's like, well, I just haven't been hitting my goal consistently. His goal is 40K a week. We had a slow start this month or this year in the beginning because we were just redoing certain things for him. And then we got his mindset right. And I was like, listen, dude, I want you to only focus on 40K and I want you to focus on 15 estimates a week. Those are the two metrics I want you to pay attention to. Don't worry about nothing else. 40K, 15 estimates a week. If you don't have 15 estimates on your schedule, figure it out. Get 15 estimates on your schedule.
Right.
That's it. 40K, 15 estimates. We did that for 5 weeks in a row. That's what I told him. Just focus on those things. You know, 1 week was 20K. Another one was like 30. Another one was like, it was just up and down, right? And boom, 2 weeks ago, $86,000.
Sheesh.
Right? Then last week, 30 some thousand. And then I go, did you take the averages of the last 6 weeks? He goes, no. I'm like, it's $40,137. So in the last 6 weeks, we were able to get him back on track to hit the goal that he's supposed to hit. But what happens is when you guys aren't tracking, every week you're seeing that you're not hitting goal. And all of a sudden you have a monster week because you're consistent and you're following the process and you're watching the numbers. Then you're back on track. Now I told him, hey, this is the next level of what we do. And this is something that Aiden and I do preach. The difference of higher level achievers is now that you're back on track, which is our goal is to get you on track. Now we have to over exceed our goals because winter is going to come. And what do I mean by winter? I don't mean literally it's going to snow. I mean winter in business. That could be any given time of the year, any given time of life. Things happen. So when you overachieve now, when that bad winter comes in, you're still at goal, right? And these are things that guys don't coach on or talk about that we do. You have to overexceed, but we're not going to overwhelm you in the beginning. We're going to get you consistent. Once you get consistency, then we'll overachieve, and that's where you win, right? But I had to bring that up since you mentioned the numbers.
Powerful,
bro. I'm like, dude,
that's it.
Brother, the shift on his mind immediately when I saw that, he was like, damn, I am hitting goal. I'm like, yeah, dude.
What does that do for him as a leader, right? Because he had a mental block. He was getting self-conscious, and he said, look, I can't hit these goals, right? Or I'm doing something wrong. So you're kind of coaching him through it. Hey, stay with it. Trust the process, right? Keep going. That's all I want you to focus on. And then you see it kind of work backwards like that to where it's like, damn, it all just evened out because I put in the consistency and maybe some of those deals, it just took a little longer, right? Yeah. Now, what is he going to say to his sales rep when he gets one or his PM when he gets one or the admin, or maybe they already have one, right? But he can now go to them and say, trust the process, stay consistent. I've been in your shoes. I felt what you're feeling, right? Now it's like leadership at a whole nother level. I mean, think about that. Even for you, right? Not only are you coaching the person to get results, you're coaching his future team and his company to get results, right?
100%.
Damn, man.
That's why it's structured that way by design, because what a lot of guys don't realize is that really what we're doing is, and this goes for you too, right? Like a lot of guys don't understand in your program is that we already know those numbers. We already know what it's going to take to get to that end result. And some people want to skip those steps. So they go, oh, I'm not feeling it. I don't see it. They want immediate gratification when it's like, dude, the game is consistency. Like, I'm not impressed. Like when guys show me numbers that, oh, I sold this $100,000 job. I'm like, great. Yeah. Do it again. And when you do it over and over and over and over again, now I know you figured it out. But when you only do something once, maybe twice, how do you reteach that? You can't, because you don't know the consistency of that. So it's all about patterns and behavior, right? And that's the one thing that you and I look for. We look for patterns and behaviors. We see that in our clients, and we try to keep them in that like level-headed mindset.
Yeah. Right? It's like hitting a kickflip. It's like, all right, you did it once. You got to do it again, bro.
Yeah.
do it again, or it's not real, right?
All the reps, dude.
uh,
I remember the kick flips. Yeah, man. I'd be like, I did it. And then it's like, do it again. You're like,
do it
oh man,
again,
two
bro.
more weeks.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
so
bro.
funny. And I think this is actually a perfect segue into our sponsor,
Yeah.
DripJobs. Tanner put out a fire ass speech
Dog.
for PCA,
Yeah.
and he basically said, "Hey, I'm gonna pick someone from the audience, and we're gonna do a diagnostic on your business, a
Yes.
diagnosis, right?"
Yeah.
Called somebody up. She had been in business for like 25 years, right? So someone who has been doing it the same way for a while, doing good numbers. And he broke down all the metrics. He said, what's your
Live.
average job size? What's your close rate? What's your goal for the years? Went down the road of everything in her business. And she was on her numbers. She was giving it to him.
Yeah.
And it was just a perfect thing because at the end, he said, you're trying to hit this goal and you're doing it at this level right now. Here's what you need to change. You
Yeah.
need to get your set rate up by this much. And he gave exact percentages. If you
Yeah.
want to hit this goal, you got to get your close rate by this much, right? And then here are all the tips to do it. It was like an AI business coaching session to everyone,
Yeah, dude. It was
right?
dope.
And I think you can actually access this DripJobsDiagnostics.com, something like that.
I think
You
it's
can go,
DripDiagnostics.com. Oh, let me look it up while you're
yeah.
saying it, and I'll look it up real quick. Yeah.
So this is going to be a way. I mean, me and Joel do this for our clients, right, in our own way, but this is something that is now a free tool that you can go online and do a little audit for your business. So I highly recommend, man, if you guys can, Joel's going to find a link and I'll post it in the description as well. You guys can go access that. But I think that's something that guys need to know in order to start to think about their business in a different way, right?
Yeah, I can't find it right now, but we'll get it.
Yeah,
I
we
know
will. We'll
it's
put it
in
in
the
the
notes.
description. No worries.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was so fire. And, shout out to them over at Drip Jobs. They were able to give us a little space next to their booth. We put up the banner. We did live coaching sessions
Yeah, dude. It
for a
was
few of the guys. That was freaking awesome. We gave game. We kind of just gave the story of why the podcast is here, who we're trying to help, and why we do this every single week. So another
yes.
thing is we got amazing guests. So we are
Dog.
meeting a bunch of high level guys, and we got some awesome guests booked, right? So
Yes.
they're already on the schedule, and we can't wait to share that with you guys.
Bro, I'm excited. Like, and everyone's starting to see it, right? Like, they're seeing how serious we're taking the
Yeah.
podcast, and they're seeing that we're bringing high level speakers and guys that have been doing it really well, have been consistent. They're gonna drop game on these episodes, man. So I'm super pumped for them.
Dude, I want to ask, man, did you go to like any of the small breakout sessions?
I did. I went to one. I think it was called No Drip. I think.
No drip.
Yeah.
Dude,
Oof.
that one, and I want to talk about one more. Let's talk about the no drip one for a second. I believe her name's like, I don't want to mess it. I don't even want to say it, but she is awesome, right?
Amazing. Yeah.
Got a picture with her, legendary.
Yeah.
Female owned business, and she went through her whole production side of the business.
Yeah, dude.
Raw numbers, exactly where she needs to hit, right? Like Joel gives real numbers to his clients. She was like, I'm giving real numbers to these people and letting them know how we operate. And one of the coolest things I saw was she gave acronyms for her management style, basically, right? Like, hey,
Yes.
here's our operations and how we go about it. And we follow this acronym. And it was like DRIP, DRIP. And it went through first you do this, then you do this, then you do that. And that's how we bring people in. And they already have a SOP to follow. So we know that their baseline of success is already kind of baked into the role, if that makes sense.
100%. Mm-hmm.
How many people are bringing guys on and don't have anything for them?
Bro, a lot. And the craziest part, just so you know, everyone that I was talking to that left that room, everyone, like, I did not find one person that said that was not valuable to them. They were just
100%.
like, wow, like, she just put us on game. Like, I'm going to go execute XYZ now. And I was highly impressed because I'm a very data analytical person when it comes to business numbers on the back end. She did exactly what I would do.
And here's
super impressed.
right. And here's the thing, right? I always talk about like getting your numbers right at the sale so that you can have those kind of like accountable conversations, right?
Yeah.
Like if my guy says, hey, you're not paying me enough for this job. Well, let's walk through it, right? Our estimating's dialed. We know that. So now let's look at maybe I missed something, right? Maybe you didn't plan properly, right? Let's look at the job day by day, see how it went. Hey, Monday you showed up late. You're already behind the 8 ball, right? And now
Yeah.
you're asking for more money. Let's really break that down. Is that fair to us? Is that fair to our values? Is that fair to the company? And then you can have those kind of a conversation. She basically was doing the same thing with her management practices. And she
Yeah.
said, look, the reason that we want you to hit 50% review rate is because we know that if we do these things, blank, 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 X, Y, and Z, you're going to be able to get that review almost 6, 7 out of 10 times. So if
Yeah.
you just hit 50%, you are going to get your bonus. You're in line with our company standards. So that's what I meant by the baseline is already baked into the role because she already has the system figured out. All
Yep.
you got to do is stay consistent and keep yourself accountable.
100%. Dude,
It's powerful.
it was huge. It was huge. What was another breakout session that you got into?
Nick Slavic won, man.
Bro, I was
And
about to say that next, dude.
him and his mentor, super high level. Obviously, we respect Nick a lot.
Yes.
Friend of the show,
Yes.
friend of the show, Nick
Yeah, yeah,
Slavic.
yeah.
Former chair of the PCA. Nothing
Right?
crazy.
No big deal.
No big deal.
Yeah.
And no, man. Like every time I see him, I just say, dude, you're goated.
Yeah.
Like, man, for
So
what
much.
you do, we appreciate all aspects of the business, and he sees humans, craftsmanship. He
Yeah.
understands the business side of it. He's a leader, all great things. And he was sitting down with his mentor, and it made me think I need a freaking mentor too, man. Like, obviously, I have you, I have a
Yeah,
few
yeah,
other people in my
yeah.
corner, but like somebody that can just. I don't have anybody that I meet with right now,
Yes.
and
Like
maybe
a
that's something I'm
consistent,
yeah.
specific way of coaching with you specifically.
Yes, because I
Right.
have a lot of resources. I have a
Yeah.
lot of guys that like if I need certain things, I can go to. But it's really important to have somebody understand you intuitively,
Yeah.
and that can like it's kind of like a relationship, right?
Yeah.
It's like I can give my side and tell you about what's happening with me and my wife, but like if you don't know her side, you're not going to understand it.
Correct.
So it's like if I have this mentor or someone like Nick has, they can give advice that maybe it doesn't feel right in the moment, but then you kind of come full circle and you're like, damn it, I should have listened to you way earlier.
100%, dude.
What was your takeaway from kind of that one?
Yeah, man. First things first, I think how do I word this? I want to articulate it in a very specific way because um, we all view Nick as he's got it figured out. And none of us do. We're just figuring it out. And I think a lot of people don't understand that, right? Like, yeah, we figured out certain things, but we're still figuring it out. And I think that's what people don't understand about mentorship is that even the mentor himself was still figuring it out because there's different personalities and stuff like that. Um, but what I loved, what he displayed was the biggest thing for me was that this is something that I've been coaching about for years. And it was the accountability about the people and focusing on the people and structuring the business around the people, right? Because I've been saying this forever, guys, and I've been yelling it off the rooftops. You can have every SOP, you can have every procedure, you can create another SOP, but if your people don't feel that they exist in part of this SOP, you're going to have a big struggle in your business, and it's going to
Yeah.
be very difficult to grow, scale, sustain without the stresses that it brings. And I love the vulnerability that he showed because I've been very fortunate enough that I got to skip that step because my mentor is the one that taught me. He was like, listen, it's all about the people.
Yep.
Like, you got to focus on the people. So I got to skip that pain. And I learned that early on in my career. But like Nick being like so SOP driven and being like, oh, it's another SOP. Why don't they just follow the SOP? I love that he said that because SOPs are super important. Yes. But people are more important than anything. And
Yeah.
making sure you're doing check-ins, making sure they're okay, right? Making sure you're doing one-to-ones. And I love the fact that he goes, and dude, I felt like he was just answering my prayers. I was like, God, please, someone say something else other than me saying this. Nick said it all on stage. Like literally everything I've been feeling lately, he said it. Because also, like when people are like, oh, do you meet with your guys after hours? I'm like, no, I'm not going to meet with them after hours. Because like, that doesn't necessarily mean they want to hang out with me. And I love that he said that they'll close down a happy hour during working hours. I was like, brilliant. Thank you. Because I think he's getting rid of that limiting belief system that people want to hang out with you after. And here's the reality. I've never felt that my employees ever wanted to hang out with me unless
Right.
they were like a buddy that wanted to go work out and something like that, that we shared the same mindset on certain things like jujitsu. I had
Yeah.
one guy like that shared the same like. So we have done that after hours, but like I'm not gonna ask my painters to meet with me after hours and go do jujitsu or go
Right.
hang out. They're gonna look at me like, no, I want to go to my wife and my family, right? So I love that he exposed that whole process, and I was like, damn, dude, like I wish I did more of that during work
Right.
hours. That was amazing. And I just love the banter back and forth of like it almost felt like father son figure, right? Like
100%.
didn't you feel that? Like
Yeah.
he was just like he looked up to him like a father figure.
The amount of trust that was just like so
Yes,
present it was piercing, right?
yes. I got the
It was one of
chills
the,
saying it right now. Like,
yes,
yeah,
that's exactly how I felt. And we're two guys that deeply cared about each other, but two guys that also made sure each one knew what it was, right?
yes,
There was
yes,
no shortcuts. Even on stage, he was like, "Yeah, we figured that out quick, right? Like
yes,
we're not buddy in that fact. We are, hey, you hired me for a reason. We're work together for a reason. We're gonna get this done."
yeah,
And there's times where Nick said he cried, right, in certain
yeah,
areas of his business because he thought he had it figured out and he did it one way for a long time. And then he realized, man, like if I had just switched this earlier mindset wise, if I had just stopped thinking the way I did, things would have been much better. Um, but yeah, and I want to touch on a few things, like you said, right? Like he says, we don't do after hours, but we do it in a social setting. Thought
yes.
that was important too because
Hmm.
nobody wants to be in a tense one-on-one room at a desk and it's just you two and it's like, did you hit your numbers? No. Why? What can we
Yeah,
do? And it's always negative, right? You never want to feel like, oh man, here we go, another meeting. You want it to be like, hey, I can be okay with doing this. Yes, we're going to have uncomfortable conversations, but it's
yeah,
in a way that is supportive. We want to get you back on track. We're doing this to kind of make sure that the pressure isn't too much. I love that. And that coincides with his personality, right? He loves to invest in the human. He loves to see them as a human first and not, oh, you're just a number on a spreadsheet. Right.
yes,
I think Nick's like a pioneer in that front, right? Where it's like a lot of people are on the other side. They just are like, you equal output for my company. And that's really it. Whereas
yeah,
Nick's bringing it the whole other way. Like, look, we're going to do work from home Fridays. We're not going to meet after hours. You're going to make sure you have a great, like a life. It's instead of just getting paid well. Right.
yeah.
So I love that. And it's great that we're talking about that because more people need to instill that into their companies. Um, there's one other thing he was talking about. Why am I blanking on it? Um, oh, not every person is wired like you,
Yeah.
right? And even, dude, this like went back to my relationship, dude. He
Mm.
basically said, right? So his mentor said, I have never taken someone that wasn't an entrepreneur and turned them into an entrepreneur. In
Yeah.
his 25, 30 years of teaching colleges, being a professor, studying entrepreneurship. That's a crazy statement. I've never taken someone that wasn't an entrepreneur and made them an entrepreneur. And think about the relationships we've had with people,
Yeah.
people we love. We want to see them do good. And we're like, dude, why are you taking this seriously? Why aren't you trying to level up in this, right? Like friends,
Yeah.
family members. All you have to do is X, Y, and Z. And dude, you'll be making money. You'll be in a way better spot. They're just not wired that way.
No.
Isn't that crazy to think?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
even like, dude, I look at it like conversations with my wife, right? I'll give
Mhm.
you the perfect example right now, today that happened. I forgot my admin was off. She requested time off a couple weeks
Yeah.
ago. Didn't put it in the calendar like a bozo. So 9 o'clock rolls around.
Yeah.
I'm getting calls and I'm like, hey, are you okay? I'm thinking something's happening. She never does this, right?
Yeah.
Everything okay? Maybe an hour later. Hey, I let you know I was off like a couple weeks ago. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So I go to my wife and I say, hey, I'm really busy. Do you mind hopping in? And
Yeah.
to me, if that were me on the other side, if she asked me, let me know what to do.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm ready
Yeah.
for this. She said, I don't do that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't expect that from her though.
Right.
She is not wired in that way. Yeah, she'll do it if I really wanted her to,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's not her natural instinct of
Correct.
entrepreneurship, of business. That's not her lane.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if I push that on her or try to get that off of her, it's like that's going to mess things up for me in the long run, you know?
Yeah. I love the fact that you said that because, like, That's facts right there. It's like, no, I'm not going to do something that I don't do. So that's awesome. You also asked a great question, which we've addressed this question with you
Yeah, we
before,
did.
which I love the fact that it confirmed it, right? Where they
100%.
talked about you asked the question in a way of if someone wanted, and it's not word for word, so you'll correct me, but it was almost like saying if someone wanted to be an entrepreneur, do their own thing, but they wanted to learn through you and kind of have an opportunity through you, what would you do in that situation? Is that correct? Something along
Yeah,
those lines.
basically what I was thinking, like, all right, I've come across guys that want to own their own business,
Yeah.
but also want to work with me. And they'll let me know, hey, just to let you know, I would love to do my own thing. Maybe that's with you, maybe that's by myself, right? But like, I just want to let you know, like, I do have that entrepreneur spirit. That's
Yep.
what my vision is. But I would love to work with you, learn from you, and who knows where it goes.
Yeah. And that they said that's perfect, right? Just set the expectation, the tone, and teach them. What an honor to see someone else do their own thing, right? And I've told you that multiple times. I've had like 3 production managers come to me saying they want to have their own business, and I'm like, okay, I'll teach you as long as
That's
you're
how you know
not.
you know. That's how you know your shit, bro.
Yeah, it's all good, man. My biggest thing is just don't steal from me, and don't.
Integrity.
Yeah, yeah. As long as we're good in those things, I'll teach you everything, right? And then I do warn them. I go, hey, you're going to get a little spoiled with me because you have consistency. It's already been built. So when you run your own business, there's things you haven't seen that
Yeah.
you're going to have to deal with, and you might not want to do it.
That's
Right.
exactly what he said as well. He said there are times where they'll come in and they'll realize what it really takes. Cause like people say they want to grow and then they get to a certain point and they're like, F this. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have these skills to lead people, to go up in front of a meeting and a team and inspire them and have one-on-ones and hold people accountable. Some people don't think that's fun. Even Nick says, look, I don't love having meetings. If I could skip that part of my job, I would, but he knows it's so essential.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Here's the beauty. One thing is like, okay, like, Jerry, right?
Jerry,
From Bar
yes.
Painting.
Hmm.
He was one of my production managers in Phoenix.
Wow.
And he's doing now $15,000 a week in production. Like,
That's it.
you know what I mean? He learned to
Mhm.
play, did the play, and he hired his office admin. He's got a production manager now. I'm like, dude, I'm proud of him, right? Like,
Yeah,
that's the thing people don't see is that, like, that's if you're willing to do whatever it takes and you're willing to learn and then go out there and do it and just execute, you'll
just
win.
do it with integrity and honor, and you're good, man.
100%, man.
Yeah, give
100%.
real value back. You know,
Yeah. Yep.
like I expect you to put in work. Simple as
100%,
that,
bro.
right? Hey,
Love it.
we do have a few announcement, guys. First off, we're going to be continuing the Painting Business CEO series. We've
Yes.
gotten good feedback. It's something that we're very passionate about, man, just because there's so many topics that we talk about with our clients that we go through. And it's like we get to now package that up neatly and
Yeah.
kind of serve it on a silver platter. So you can really go back to the episodes and look at Office, right, that we already kind of covered. Um, Time management, right, that we already
Yep.
covered, and go just say, look, I'm struggling with this. And now I want to kind of go back, cross my T's, dot my I's, maybe get a refresher, learn a new thing. And you get to go through our catalog and go see that. So we have a lot of juicy ones coming up, man, like
Yeah.
sales. We've got to do some leadership, man. Like it's going to be cool.
It's going to be fun, man. I'm excited. It's going to be
Yeah.
great.
And we also have some events coming up.
Yes.
If you
You
want to
got,
maybe announce something.
yeah, yeah. Do you want to start with yours? You said Sherwin or something, like, since it's coming up
Yes,
this week?
yeah, we can do mine. So basically, next week, March 3rd, I believe that's a Tuesday. Basically, we're doing
Yes.
an event with Sherwin Williams over in Denver, Colorado, in Thornton, and we're going to be putting on a business workshop for Spanish contractors, Spanish painting contractors, and entrepreneurs. And the idea is that for whatever reason, the way that the Spanish, their heritage, ethnicity, they're wired in a different way,
Yes.
right? They
Yeah.
are very much, and this is quoted from the guys that I've worked with and know. I hear that they're macho,
Yeah.
machismo, people say, or
My
something like
machismos, yeah, like, and
that.
guys, I'm Puerto Rican, so I can say this too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they have their way of doing things, and a lot
Yeah.
of it is based on like who can do the most work, who can
Hmm.
stay the most consistent, and a lot of times they're not thinking with the most business mindset, right?
Right.
And I don't want to make it sound any type of way. I'm just literally giving you what I've known, what I've seen, what people have told me. And we want to break that belief. We want to break
Yeah.
that mindset. And we want to go in and let these guys know, hey, you can do the work all you want, but there is a way to work smarter and not harder. And
Yep.
I'm going to go in and present to these guys and let them know, like, not only have I done it for Spanish contractors, but I have real proof. And I'm going to
Yep.
show them ways that they could switch their mindset and they can look at their business in a different way. I'm going to go through numbers. We're going to go through strategies. I'm going to show them real testimonials. And for me, dude, I was literally, when I first got into painting business, like I painted apartments, $75 a day. I worked with 2 Mexicans, Juan
Yeah.
and Cruz, and they kicked my ass. It was like, Aiden,
Yeah.
keep up. Aiden, you're behind. Keep up. So I learned early on a work ethic that most people don't really learn when they get into this trade.
Yeah.
And I had deep respect for those guys, man. Like, it was crazy. And they would take me to their favorite restaurants. They would put me on to Spanish words like basuro for the trash, right? Like,
Yeah.
hey, put it in the trash, right? Just like it was a cool experience, and it instilled that work ethic in me that I still keep up with. So like I know these guys pretty intimately, and it's just an honor to be chosen to come out there.
Dude, that's awesome. Is it open to the public or is it specific to them, like whatever this event is?
No, open to the public. Yeah, we
Okay.
expect roughly like 80 people. It's going to be at a restaurant. I think it's called like Satire Restaurant in Thornton.
Nice.
I'll put out on my page a little flyer so everybody can
Yeah, I
get
was
some
gonna say.
info. But if
Yeah.
you're a Spanish contractor, painting contractor, and you're looking to look at your business in a new way and grow, perfect to connect with us, learn from me. We have a few other people coming out. It's going to be cool.
Dude, that's so cool. Yeah, just share that and we'll share it for you as well. I'd love to share it and make sure we can get some guys out there with you guys. A lot of learning stuff. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. And that's me. So what do you got?
Woo, first time ever, not ever, but first time in the painting world that I'm throwing a seminar, 2-day seminar, May 30th and 31st, I believe, is a Saturday, Sunday. Um, I'm doing the whole play, bro. Like I'm literally doing a full painting contractor's workbook, from 5 pillars to excellence is what it's called. So I'm going to go over mindset. I'm going to go over office. I'm going to go over sales, production, and leadership training. We're going
Wow.
to test your leadership skills. I have a test that I created that we're going to see what level you're at and where do you need to be to change certain things and behaviors to get you to another level. Because what a lot of people don't realize is if you're a level 4 or level 5 leader, because there's 10 levels to leadership. If you're level 4 or level 5, how do you get a level 6 or 7?
Yeah.
Right. So those are the things that, yeah, 6.
It's like
Dude, I love
ingrained
it,
in me
man.
right now.
That was not done on purpose, I swear. Um, but yeah, so I got 2 guest speakers. I was kind of praying on this. I wanted it to be a thing that was 100% mine.
Yeah.
But I still love the aspect of having guest speakers to change the
Yeah.
energy up a little bit. So I got a guy named Big D. His name is Dan Sikowski. Dude, phenomenal guy. Ran multiple construction companies, exited all of them. He's in the coaching as well, coaching industry.
Wow.
He's going to speak on Sunday as an opener, and he's going to teach us just systems, processes, and how he exited his business. He was doing $30 million in one of his businesses per year and just sold it. Like he's just going to bring the game for us. And then on Saturday, I wanted to bring another mindset type motivational person. His name is Charlie Rocket. You guys are hearing it for the first time here on the podcast.
Wow.
Charlie's been on stage with like Lewis Howes and Jay Shetty and Gary Vee and all those guys. So he's going to bless us. So he's going to do the CEO dinner on Friday, and then he's going to speak on Saturday. So yeah, man, I'm super pumped, and I want to leave a link here because I want our community first before I start really marketing it.
Okay.
I'm only doing 50 seats. It is going to be very intimate. It's built by design that way because I'm literally going to do a workshop. We're going to have breakout sessions where guys are going to be intermixing with each other. It's going to be very interactive as well. And I'm going to be teaching profiling, different high-level sales psychology that a lot of people haven't heard me talk about yet. So it's a lot of new stuff that I've not taught online. I've only taught in person.
San
So I'm a little
Diego?
excited.
San Diego?
Yeah, San Diego. So it'll be in San Diego. I am working on hotel discounts right now. So see what I can do to help out. And
Wow. That's
Yeah.
fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, man. It's been
Congratulations.
fun. Thanks, brother.
Can't wait to
Yeah.
hear all about it, man. I likely won't be able to come. Having a kid here soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I can do, you already know, like I'm out there, but we'll
100%.
see. Got to play it by ear. But guys, let me tell you something, right? When I was asking about like the different tables, right, at the brain meld session in the
Yeah.
PCA, and I had some of our guys and a few other people be like, dude, Joel, he's different. I'm serious,
For
bro.
real, dude.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
and
Good.
and
Good.
I think what it is, man, your business can only be as good as the leader. Can only
Hmm.
go as far as the leader can. And what you do is you allow people to level up in their leadership, right? Fuck the
Yeah.
systems, fuck the frameworks, throw that out the window.
Yeah.
Once you become a better leader, all of that gets elevated, right?
100%.
So it's
100%.
just one of those things that if you're not taken seriously, you don't even got to be a painting business owner, right? Like this man Joel's coaches doctors, like
Yeah.
he's done it all. And I want you guys to really think about this, think about an event that could literally change everything for you. How many times do we talk about that event was the one, right?
Mm.
Do we look
Every
back and
time, dude.
say, God damn, thank God I went to that event. Bless,
Yeah.
bless my soul for saying that. Durant, hey, Aiden, dude, thank you so much for the nudge for PCA. It
Mm.
was so eye opening, right? So like let Joel's event be the event to where you go back and say that started it all, right?
Mm. Appreciate that,
Can't
man.
wait for that, man.
Yeah. I'm not playing, dude. It's gonna be different.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. I'm putting my heart and soul into this seminar because I'm underutilized. Is how I've been saying a lot lately because I've been talked about as the mindset coach, right? But people don't realize I've built multiple companies for other people, even as an employee,
Yeah.
that I've built leadership systems and sales systems for these giant companies on the West Coast. People don't even know about, like that they've never knew I did. Um, and I'm bringing those tools to the painting contracting world. That it's just a different mindset to have, and tools to take. So it's a
Yeah.
level up season right now.
If you're high level,
Yeah,
definitely consider it. If you want to be high level, if you see yourself as somebody who has it in them, but maybe just needs it unlocked, I think
yeah,
that's what it's for. That's who it's for.
yeah. We're gonna have some rewiring going on.
Yeah. Dude, I want to talk about like what we took away from the PCA, and
Yeah.
maybe we'll wrap up the episode. What did you bring home? What did you get? And what game can you give to our guys?
Yeah, I mean, you've already heard me speak about Nick. You heard me speak about no drip. One of the most powerful speeches that I've heard. I think we undersell. I don't want to say undersell. I think what's happening in the industry is people fear on being honest, right? And I think that goes from
Mm.
anywhere really, because honesty is a really tough thing for certain people. Um, where for you and I, that's all we live by. It's like you got to be honest. If you're not honest, what are you, right? Um, I noticed Brad Ellison's speech hit me hard, man. And I'm trying not to get vulnerable right now. It hit me hard because not a lot of people are speaking on these things, and it's what saved my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had a big ego. I was driving off ego, and Brad spoke a lot about faith. He spoke about his family. He spoke about just being a better person within first, and that was hitting me hard, man, because a lot of people don't realize the struggles I've gone through in the last 8 years and building the business and then getting out and doing what I've been doing now. And
Yeah.
it felt good someone else speaking about it now, and really seeing it coming from him and seeing his before and afters and seeing how well his family's running and how happy he is. And it's like, this is what it's about, right? And
Yeah.
a lot of people I hear like, oh, scale the business and rocking their Rolexes and all this shit. That means nothing. And it means nothing because I'm having conversations. My biggest takeaway, I talked to multiple men that were saying, I'm having issues with my marriage. And they're coming to me about marriage counsel. They're coming to me about their life. And I'm like, listen, stop thinking about the business. Fix the things that you need to deal with you, and you will fix the business.
Yeah.
It's the opposite. And Brad hit me hard, dude. And I hope you guys that are listening real quick hear this last piece of the episode is like, if you don't change that now, and Aiden, I know you feel the same, brother. Like we all are in that same mindset. It's like our family, our faith, and us. That's like the three pillars first. then the business actually will thrive because we fixed all these other things. And I think we're in a grind culture, a hustle culture where they say men cannot be vulnerable. We're not in a safe place to even talk to each other. Dude, you've seen me cry on the night of PainCon when I found the news of my release of responsibilities.
Never forget.
Bro, it's moments that I'll never forget that I've been able to share with you guys. And that's why I'm here, is that I don't want anyone to go through what I went through. Like, dude, if there's going to be a day I'll tell more stories about this. And I just related to these men. I looked at the pain in their eyes and I could see it at the PCA. There was way too many of them. And I hope that God was able to allow me to deliver a message to them that I wish I heard 7-8 years ago, that I didn't have to go through all that pain. So my biggest takeaway at the PCA really was that we need to talk more about this stuff. And
Wow.
I'm glad, like, he's the VP now in the board, and he's speaking about these things, and it needs to be spoken about. And I hope you guys take that away, that my biggest takeaway for PCA was the vulnerability finally, that like we're struggling with these things. We need to fix these things and watch what happens to our businesses and how we're going to elevate. So that was my takeaway. Yeah.
Huge, bro. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, man.
You know, I think I align with that, man. Like, I take that very seriously. And I think a lot of our listeners do too.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons they listen to this, because they understand, like, man, even if I can get close to certain circles, like I want to, you know, and not in an egotistical way, in a way that like we understand thoroughly, like there's a lot of bad people out there. You know what I mean? There's a lot of guys that they're in it for themselves. They're in it for the money. They're chasing the things that are material. And it's like, once you double down on your non-negotiables, what matters to you really matters, right? The real relationships, your legacy, and, you know, spouse, that kind of thing. That's when things get fun, right? Because you don't got to worry about anything else anymore. It's magical almost, right? And I share the same sentiment. Like, our group came together in a big way, right? We had the event, and I'm telling you, man, you know, there's guys that join the group, and you just, you know, they have that heart, and you want to do whatever you can to make change for them, you know? And it's like, it was almost like a full circle moment for me, where I see these guys and I'm like, shit, man, you're going to be good. Stick with it. I need you to stick with it, not for you, but for your family. Yeah. People were sharing amazing stories of how this is where I was. This is what I was into, what my mindset was. And because of us, right, what we're doing with our coaching, our groups, our community, introducing people, getting people together, you know, in a super magical way, like I keep saying, because that's the only way I can describe it. That's the impact. And it's like, we get to create that snowball effect, right? Yeah. Like, man, I'm telling you, 2 years ago, I couldn't accept this positivity. Just the way I was wired, man. I'd push it away. I'd be like, nah, let me not comment. Good job. Let me kind of just stay on the outside. And dude, there's no downside to giving love, positivity, and you get noticed for it, you know, in a way that changes lives, in a way that, like, dude, I had a guy, you know, somebody on one of our clients' teams. He was like, dude, you guys like lit a spark in me. I felt like I'm around people I need to be. Yeah. So you're a big stepper, bro. Man. In a big way.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Good shit, man. Nah, it's powerful, man, because I think that's what the podcast is for, is to spread the good word, right? Just like the big man upstairs wants to.
100%, man. That's why he put us together, dog.
That's it, right? That's what he needs us to do. We're gonna do it in a big way. We're not gonna be, you know, that's it, man. Yeah. I think we ended on that.
Yeah, 100%. I feel blessed being with you and everybody else in our circles. So, you know, let's keep rocking and doing what we do.
Big guests coming through, guys. Painting Business CEO series. A lot more podcasts coming this year. Hope we made your day a little bit better if you're listening to this, and we will see you guys on the next one.
Peace.